Yo, it's Thanksgiving, giving, and I'm trying to be forgiving. Come on, girl. Nothing is forbidden. You know we gotta have. I gotta give thanks to you, and you, and you. Can't be hateful. Gotta be grateful. Mashed potatoes on my table. I got ribs smelling up my neighbor's cribs. Alright. Can't deny. Having good times. We'd be laughing till we cry. It's thanks. Thanks. Thanksgiving. Come on. It's thanks. Thanks. Thanksgiving. Give 'em Thanksgiving. Yo. So Monica, I don't know if you've seen that yet, but that's a video called It's Thanksgiving. It's done by the same people who did Friday by Rebecca Black. If you haven't seen it yet, you can click on the link that'll be on my nose, and it'll take you there. So I'll just give you a second to do that. Anyway, those lyrics are from a rap in the middle of the song that I thought was absolutely hilarious, and I just had to share it with you. So today's video comes to you in 2 parts. 3 parts, I guess. First off, welcome to my nook. This is technically Kevin and I's closet, but we've remodeled it, and this is where I'll probably be filming my videos from now on. Part 2 is in response to your video. I have a couple things to say. As far as your fashion advice goes to fellow teenagers, I have very little opinion on that, except for I agree with you that sweats are disgusting. As far as your response to my video goes, the idea of, my idea of being afraid of death and using that as like a propulsion towards actually doing something, I think that your point is a good one. I think that what I should have said and what should have been a more accurate argument as far as towards my opinion on these things is to say that to fear dying without actually having accomplished what you want to accomplish in your life. I'm not going to get into that too much because I already talked about that last time, like 2 weeks ago. I'm making eye contact with myself for most of this video. It's going to look weird. And then as far as what you were saying, I was just gesturing towards my laptop, which I have sitting right here. Not that you can tell, but by my general arm movement, you know the direction it's in. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to be in your own world. This topic was recently covered in an episode of Go On, which is a hilarious show. It has Matthew Perry in it. I'll try and throw up a link here, or maybe I'll put it down in the description or something. I don't know. We'll see. But basically, the idea was we all use escapism to get away from like the sucky stuff in our life. For me, that comes from writing and from watching movies and TV and stuff. And for you, I think it's existing in this other world. It's this other place where you can go where suddenly everything that's such a huge problem, everything that's such a huge deal in real life isn't as big a problem. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that as long as you don't let being in that other world become your primary form of living. If I spent all of my time watching TV or watching movies, then my form of escapism wouldn't be escapism anymore. I wouldn't be running away from anything. I would just be staying. And you're in this kind of stagnant, that puts you in this kind of stagnant place where you can't move on. You can't, whatever it is that you're trying to escape from, you can't move on from it. You'll be constantly running away, as opposed to actually, living your life like you were saying in your video. Oh. That felt really good. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with having that world to exist in, and I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with having the world itself. I think as soon as you let that become your primary source of life, that's where it becomes an issue. Those are my thoughts on your video from last week. And now, story time. Welcome to Story Time with Scott. Today's story comes from a land far, far away, in Russia. It takes place in the late 17th century and features the Tsar of Russia, Peter the Great. Peter the Great was married to a woman named Catherine, who is also called the Great. And he loved her very, very much. And yet, as I don't know if you're aware, but in royalty, for some reason, there's kind of this weird obsession with having sex with everything you can. And so, he was cheating on her with this girl. I don't remember her name. Her last name was Mons. She began to cheat on him with her assistant, whose name was Will Amons. Will Amons was the girl Peter was cheating on Catherine's with brother. So it's all a very complicated love square. And so eventually Peter found out about this. He was so devastated by this betrayal, though, I mean, ironically, he'd been betraying her this entire time as well. So where as far as the moral standpoint goes, who's the villain in the story, I'm not sure. But he was so devastated by this betrayal of his trust, of his love for her, that in order to punish her, he hung Will Mons from a gallows and then cut off his head. He took Will's head and stowed it in a jar so that it was preserved and put it on display inside his museum, and he would force Catherine to spend hours with just the severed head every single day. It's a pretty intense story, but it's kind of what's been on my mind a lot. I've been kind of obsessed with it, actually. And, well, I wanted to share it with you. It's something I'm trying to turn it into a script right now. I found out about this story through our mutual friend Aubrey, who shared a song with me called Peter. It's by a band called The Bad Books. So you can click on. I'll have a link maybe here, or maybe down in the description. I will see. But it'll take you to the Spotify playlist where you can listen to the song. That's all I really had. That's all I really had to say today. So I miss you. Come visit me so we can go to Universal Studios. And yep.